interfaces you're going to see coming up are with GrandioSO Heavy Flow and Futuribond Universal. Let's talk about Class 5s. This is probably the place you want to hang out to start out with on these flowables. They're optimum for your modulus of elasticity, and I think there's enough opacity in these flowables to mirror the opacity in the Class 5 area. This is a technique I coined. It's called caulking the window. And this is something that your flowables will do. They're caulkers. And you get the window airtight by caulking the seams so none of the water gets in, and we caulk these restorations so you don't get micro leakage, and they absorb the stress because of the favorable modulus of elasticity. They're highly filled, so you're not going to get the wear and tear on these seams. It's a good adhesive restorative interface for all your restorations. If you look at now the in the Class 5 area right here, this is where we can put the flowables. We can put them in here. If we look at this picture over here on the Class 5s, on the canines, these are the preparations. Now, these are minimally invasive preparations. I only take out what I need for what the lesion is, and then I put cable surface bevels on the superior aspect of this, and as my teaching partner, Brian Lesage from Beverly Hills, he advocates the starburst bevel, where we're actually doing a staccato bevel on the superior margins of these to get a more invisible blend and get more micromechanical retention to the preparations. Here you see the preparations before the beveling goes on. Everything gets chlorhexidine after to disinfect. This is the selective etch. Voco has a phosphoric acid, as well as other manufacturers, and you can see my phosphoric etching pattern is on hydroxyapatite, and it is not on the inferior margin, the gingival margin, because there's no enamel. So therefore you could put it on there. However, I didn't want to demineralize that, so I'm leaving that for the dentin bonding agent, the Futuribond Universal. Here's another view of the selective etch, rinse dry, and then keep the dentin. I prefer dentin to be damp. Here's an application of the Futuribond Universal, one layer going in a very meticulous, fastidious painting sort of motion that creates a uniform film thickness, lightly air dry without any blemishes, excesses, things like this. I'm very fastidious about my dentin bonding agents. Here's using a micro brush to actually swab right into the sulcus a little bit to get the adhesion down there, and don't get too much because it creates irregularities in your restorative patterns. Now, this is after the adhesion has been placed. Light cured, you can see that the superior application of the dentin bonding agent goes well into the cervical third, almost into the body, because I may need to go up there and put some material and or finish it down with the mantle. This is caulking the window. You can use two different colors. I can highlight the outline of the Class 5 box with a higher value to frame the restoration. You don't have to do this. How do I do this first? My first bead is on the superior cable surface margin. That's number one. I bead that, and then I light cure it. My number two bead is drawing down the proximals in a very small way, creating the connectors, minor connectors dropping down from the top of the preparation. That's light cured, and the most important one is how I'm going to connect or caulk that subgingivally, and a small bead goes on the inferior gingival margin, connecting the window, so to speak, and that's the one that is most important because you don't want to get improper adaptation. Here's the canine caulking the window, superior first, drape down the sides on the sides of the window. You're just doing a vertical, a horizontal and a vertical caulking pattern, and then you integrate that. And again, the most fastidious and critical is with the heavy flow, it's not runny. You just watch that bead gently flow out, and you just stripe that inferior border, and you caulk that shut, and you hear that. Now you're sealed. If you happen to go down there with a diamond or any sort of carbide and you get gingival irritation, you don't have to worry that you've contaminated your restoration. It is sealed. Now, this view here shows the final volume. I may have put 1 or 2 layers in there. It wasn't deep, but I also, after I put these flowables in, I'll take a bender brush, and I'll actually take a bender brush and start painting upwards of the flowable into the superior margin, and hardly get any striations in it at all. The overhead light is on the patient's chin. I can work with this for 15 minutes and save a whole bunch of finish time. This is what it looks like. Now, after I'm done light curing, I will take a very fine yellow flame diamond from Brasler, Shofu, Comet, whatever that I have identified, and it's very not aggressive, and I will actually do a very fine finishing of the total restoration to make sure everything there's no voids, there's no under contoured, and this creates some perichromata or surface texture before I use the Demanto. Here you see the Demanto used on the central incisor, a very light touch. I'm geared down to about 5,000 RPM, no water spray, and I'm just very light touch breaking up some silicone particles with the diamond impregnation on this, and just kind of breathing the hand luster into these restorations. And this to me is the most fulfilling part, is to do the artisan part of dentistry without the effort. Here you see the final flowable in place there, no damage to the sulcus. Didn't have to go there. It is caulked, it is sealed, and here you see the canine as well. What am I saying? You want to immerse yourself in clinical dentistry in the new flowable arena? This is where you want to hang out. This is where you want to start your journey.